Okay, so this is gonna be like a quick video, but so Ben Shapiro and Destiny have this conversation, right? So I'm listening. I knew the conversation was gonna be good, but I didn't realize like how useful it was, and I feel like there's all these things that are normalized for me that I feel like this community that I've created specifically, those things are not normalized for all of you guys. So I just want to start a larger conversation about the things. Here's the first thing: family and the family unit and marriage, family, marriage, and finances. So obviously, okay, in America, the marriage rate is going down. It's down, down, down. Especially like the black community, it's abysmal. It's always been abysmal. But it's probably not going to get better, mostly because like first of all, like black men don't care about black children for the most part. There are some that do. I feel like the Christian ones probably do, maybe, possibly. They care about biracial children, possibly. I don't know. Then there's obviously like the Orthodox Ethiopian Christian ones who care. I feel like there's like the Nigerian fathers who kind of care about maybe some things that revolve around colorism. But black women on as a whole, like definitely care about like themselves, like black girls. I find that probably like it's in the like 90 to probably 100% of black women do care. Now, there's all these people who are making these. They're giving dating advice. Everybody's talking about dating, 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 and I honestly feel like that conversation should die. Kill the conversation. There is no point in talking about dating. If you're a woman, okay, and you meet a man, okay, and you basically are a person who wants to like have children and raise a family, the only question that you basically need to ask is like, do you want marriage with me? Like that. If the person says no, then you should move on with your life. If the person says yes, then you should keep entertaining them, right? Because until you both walk down the aisle, everybody is trying to make a decision about, are you the person that I'm going to marry? There's a lot of different like in terms of like values, like there's not all these things are actually not up in the air, right? Like if you're going to live a Christian lifestyle, there's a book written, it's called the Bible. It tells you how to live, okay, like word for word. And people have been following it for a very long time. And you can go to this like little house that people call a church, and there's a guy there or a girl. They call those like preachers, okay? And they even give you like the Wikipedia version, the Cliff Notes version of like how to live a life devoted to Christ. They got all these apps now that you can use. If you want to live morally and religiously under Christ, it ain't that hard to figure out how to do it. Now, they started talking about basically like education, and that's like Ben Shapiro started making these points, and I'm like, oh my God, everyone doesn't know this. Now, I'm gonna switch the conversation just for a brief second because I want to introduce. It was a joke, but I feel like I get the joke, but I feel like you guys might not get the joke, and I want to explain the context of the joke so that you follow me. Here's the joke. There's an artist named Georgia Smith. Okay, now she's from the UK or London, I think specifically. Now, in the UK and London, most of the black and people of color and immigrants are poor and they live in this subsidized housing situation, these like apartments. And they made all these shows about living in those apartments, like Top Boy is one of the shows, one of the most popular shows. It's useful to have a show like Top Boy because it does represent this subsect of people who are living like that. Now, not all people are living like that. Not most people are living like that. The like when you talk about the UK, Europe, and Britain, most people are like white still, and it's gonna remain that way. But there is a population of people who are immigrants, people of color from other parts of the world. And we have people like Rita Ora, who made some content, some songs about that subculture. We have Drake, who's been influenced, it seems, by the culture. And we have like hip hop in general that is making, it's kind of like soaking up the culture a little bit. And then we have actually something else where we are getting something new that is what is her name? Pink Pantheress. I don't know if you guys have seen her most recent video, the one with Yara shahidi in it, where she's just like at the mall going shopping. Now, the Pink Pantheress didn't grow up in the public housing, right? It's very clear that she grew up in a different way. Probably more similar to like the middle class, okay? All of the experience that she shared had been reminiscent of the middle class. Now, the culture between Jorja Smith and Pink Panthers, go listen to their music, go read their interviews. They live different lives. Now, some people, especially the immigrants, they like to do these things with colorism where they're like, oh, yeah, well, because of colorism, Jorja Smith had more than the Pink Panthers. When you go look at them and talk to them, you see that that actually isn't true. The Pink Jorja Smith, I believe, grew up in public housing and has made a whole bunch of content about that. The Pink Panthers has grown up middle class. Has made a bunch of content about that. Those are different experiences. They're different. So the joke basically was, how would you classify Jorja Smith? And it was like public housing in London. And we all laughed because it was funny. But if you know, you know. It was just like, you know how people try to classify girls. Like, how do you classify women? Like, the first time I heard a Jorja Smith song, and then I saw her, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's like, it's giving public housing in London. Like, or public housing in the UK. You can feel how you feel. That's not, I mean, if that's what you are, that's what you are. It's not an awful thing. Anyway, let's go back to this Destiny and Ben Shapiro interview that's talking about education. How do you fix educational outcomes? Now, Ben Shapiro basically says two-family household is how you fix educational outcomes. He's right. I've made a lot of, I think I call them literacy chats, where I talk to you guys about why the kids can't read. Learning, reading, educational outcomes, all of those things are predicated on what you do at home. People are mad about the teachers, okay, saying it's the teacher's fault, that all blah, 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 the teachers are responsible for the kids not knowing how to read. Yeah, no. Kids aren't going to just automatically be smarter than their parents if their parents are retards. Many of the parents are retards, okay? Like, we don't have a whole bunch of kids in America who are born from, like, you know, doctors and lawyers. We have retards who are having children out of wedlock with no resources, no nothing. They're not handing off anything, okay? And these kids are growing up to be just like their parents. Stupid. And then everyone keeps asking, oh, the population rate is going down. Well, that's good, because, like, we don't need any more poor, stupid children. We don't need it. It isn't necessary. Like, the innate value of, like, the human capacity has been, like, reached. We already know what the retards can do, how they function. It's just, we have enough. We don't need any more. Like, no more. I'm sorry, but, like, we don't need another basketball player. We don't need it. We don't need another rapper. Like, we don't need, it's unnecessary. One is enough. And we can replay those bad music videos over and over again if we want to see that. But there's just so much more to human life than that. It's just, I literally, like, got out of bed and sat in this here chair to record this video because, like, it just needed to be said. Like, I also saw Tony Gaskin made a video that was kind of about, oh, the women are just tolerating all these things. Like, there's just, how can you put it? Like, once you growing up, okay, you should be going from kindergarten to 12th grade, okay? You shouldn't have a whole bunch of crazy experiences during that time. It's a buffered period, okay, where you're going to school, you're kind of understanding how to do shit like eat meals, travel, show up on time, communicate with people from other cultures, hopefully, communicate with people in positions of power, like a manager, a boss, a teacher, a principal, things like that. And then just be introduced to other portions of society. That's what that period is for. Now, after that period, you can go through the higher education system, which will produce a lot of, like, value for you. If you just get a bachelor's degree, it will be like social value. a social currency where you will understand like more things about ways of living, industries that you could go into, job prospects, parts of the world, culture, right? Um, and then if you go even further than that, you could like specialize in something. We can talk a little bit more about graduate degrees on this channel if anyone is interested in that. I have quite a lot to say about that. I did consider for a while going to get a PhD, and be a researcher. Like my specialized field was like reinforcement learning, which is a subsect of artificial intelligence, basically dealing with robots. So if anyone is interested in that, I'm willing to talk about it, but it requires like a certain level of intelligence to understand what is being said off of that. And maybe I actually will just create a new channel that kind of dives into some, because there are some things that are happening that I do want to document. Like, God, Bill Gates had Sam Altman on his podcast and they talked about robots, and that hit a special place in my heart, not in a good way, because obviously Bill Gates is my future baby daddy, so like, and Sam Altman is my ex baby daddy, so them talking about robots, which I personally care about. Also, I am building a Quincy robot. If you guys didn't know that, I am doing that. That's been a little side project. The thing about robots is it's not the hardware. Like one of my really close friends, she's like a roboticist, but in terms of hardware, like she specializes in hardware, but I specialize in software. So for a while, we started like comparing notes, and I learned all these things about hardware when I initially knew only things about software. Um, and so to have Bill Gates, who's the software guy, talking about robots, hardware, right? You start to understand that it's all about the training data. So to build a robot, you need the training data. So I've been collecting that. This is the point. So yes, my Quincy robot project is going well, if you care. And there was something else I was going to say. The family unit, though. It's fascinating. Wonder what you guys think.